So we're back for another episode of Heart to Heart. This one for me is extra special because I've asked one of my best friends to come on and answer a couple of questions. And I'm really, really happy that Alex accepted. So meet Alex.
Hello, hello.
So Alex and I met when I was around 14, 15. So we've been friends and then eventually best friends for 25, no, yeah, 27 years, I think, something like that.
Yeah, you're giving away our age. Yeah, around
Yeah.
sort of that time. Yeah.
And we met each other. We lived at some point in London together. We're both Lebanese, so we see each other often in Lebanon. And I really consider him as one of my closest friends and one of my biggest supporter ever since I got my SPS diagnosis. I really value our friendship, and you know, I'm so
But they
happy
do
we're
it.
doing this today.
My pleasure.
Um, my first question for you is, how would you describe, our friendship pre-diagnosis, or how our friendship, I'll let you talk. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you first of all for having me here in the heart to heart, and I really appreciate you bringing me in and saying these beautiful words. I can only sort of reflect those back to you, and I'm also very grateful and happy. Like friendships that last for such a long time are really unique and really special, and there's only a handful of people that sort of accompany you as life goes on through different chapters. And so yeah, I'm very, very glad and very happy that you are in my life as well. Saying that, how was it before? Well, it was, I mean, we went through the teenage years, being in touch. We went through the early adult years when we were both living in London, seeing each other. Um, you were always a force of nature, on many levels. I personally, and that's my opinion, your brain was always above average. Your brain was above the average human being. And then on top of that, you obviously had the creative side and the dancing and all of those elements. So, you had the music, the intellect, and just a general knowledge and culture and education. A very highly rounded and sensitive individual, and I loved having you in my life. But yeah, if I had to describe it just shortly, I would say um, real thirst for life, always out and about, always partying, always seeing people, and at the same time, really studious, fully aware of what was going on in the world, very, very literate. So a really good combination. Yeah.
And what did you value most about our friendship as a group?
Honestly, yeah, well, I think the openness, like that, the fact that we could, I mean, we shared. Obviously, you can share this sort of surface level things in life, right? You can go out and you can go to nice restaurants or whatever, or party if you have the opportunity to do so and be out with your friends and socialize and stuff. But there was layers below that I valued most, connecting on a sort of real base level as far as what we were going through, emotions that we were feeling. I think those being able to just be open and vulnerable. Uh, there's not many people that you decide or want to necessarily be open and vulnerable with. So I think that was always something that I found so important. And I think that's why we are still friends to this day, because we were never really someone else with each other. I don't know how you feel about that, but
Oh, definitely. I agree completely. And I agree with the fact that you say that we're still friends today in the same way. I don't know in the same way, but we're still best friends and we have a solid bond because of the fact that we were able to be each other together. And I think that was the foundation of a great friendship and a real friendship today.
hmm.
Um, so, I mean, my second question, although you didn't live next to me, uh, you know that it took me about 5 to 6 years to get a diagnosis. Uh, did that impact our friendship in any way? Did you see a difference in me? And did it, do anything to our friendship? How would you describe that time in our lives, both of our lives?
Well, I mean, I think what's really important to remember, I still have two moments that I really remember. One moment when I was doing a theater show in New York and I was walking through Williamsburg in Brooklyn, and you were telling me about what the doctors had been telling you. And then another time when I was walking along the Thames in London, and same thing, you were telling me about what doctors had been telling you. And there was this thing that was just building over the course of many years where you had at times people who just weren't believing you and people who weren't listening properly, and feeling that level of frustration coming from you that I could hear as well over the phone, feeling that level of I'm being misunderstood. There's changes happening within me. We don't know where they're coming from or what they are. And I could feel the burden and the emotional sort of impact that it had on you. And of course it made me worried, and it made me sad. And it made me realize that, yeah, potentially what we had before, the really sort of happy-go-lucky fun element, okay, maybe that's going to change, but the depth of the friendship was always the same, the anchorage. But I think also the topics and what we were discussing and how we were approaching things started changing within that phase, simply because for you life wasn't just about, what's the next restaurant we're booking, or when is the next holiday, or what's the next party that we're going to go to, but there was that medical element that became quite important.
Did you feel I was less of a friend at that time?
Do you know what's crazy? I never, and I can say that as openly, out to the world, I never felt that you were less of a friend at any point. And I've always wondered, where can you still find the capacity in your brain, to still connect and listen and be close to the people that you love when you are going through what you are going through, and that's something that I highly appreciate. And I pray to all the gods up there that we will never lose that.
Thank you. For me, it's I have a few best friends, and I'm very lucky to have a few best friends. But I find that, investing in those relationships are still very, very important. And I wouldn't lose them for anything in the world. I mean, you're my support system. And more than that, you know me from beginning till end, and you've loved me and accepted me with all the changes that it. Well, okay, I'll shut up. So the next question.
No, but you have loved me and accepted me with all my changes as well, and I think that's something. Yeah, we're talking health-wise, of course, lots of changes on your side, but
No, but it makes sense. I mean,
you know what I mean? There's been a lot
each
of
his own.
changes and a lot of things that, yeah. Anyway, you know what I mean.
I do. I'm getting emotional. I'm really happy we're doing this. It's so nice. It's really, really nice.
I
Um,
agree. Thank you for bringing
my
me in.
last question, which I don't know why I'm getting a bit emotional on, is, I mean, we've answered it already. Nothing has changed. If anything, things have changed in the way that, where we go, but in depth, nothing has changed. But I'm still going to ask you the question. Um, what happened when I got diagnosed? And what has changed? Uh, you, yeah, again, I'll let you answer.
I mean, you have to think from an outside perspective. None of us live in your body, but seeing a lot of the videos, and I'm not there in your day to day either. I know a little bit what's going on because I'm reasonably present in your life in terms of we talk, etc., but I'm not there in your day to day. And seeing the videos, and you've shared a lot with me as well, and then you've created this amazing page and the community that you have now created online. It's painful. Like it's genuinely painful. It's quite sad to see when your friend is in so much pain and so much suffering, right? So then from a friend's perspective, you want to be there, you want to protect, you want to help, you want to support, but there's medical professionals that are there for you, right? So then what can you do as a friend is just lend a helping ear, be there when you need to talk, and whenever we can see each other, go to see you. So yes, there have been restrictions, obviously, since your diagnosis, and as a friend, it hurts. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, of course it hurts. But we have to accept the Leah from before is no more. There's a new Leah, a Leah that is now living with SPS, that is fighting through it. that is an inspiration to a lot of people, and it's beautiful as well. You know, you just have to take out the positives. It's easy to say that on my side, take out the positives, and you can tell me how you do that, because I know you've addressed it in some of the interviews, but yeah, it's not easy to see a friend suffering, but at the same time, that's what friends are here for. So I'm, just here to carry on the journey, basically.
And again, am I still in your life the way I used to be? And have I changed? Like, I know you say that I've changed in terms of going out and stuff. That's Tequila saying hi. I'm just asking, have I changed in any way? Like, yeah, I have changed. I know I have changed. You mentioned it. But intellectually, I guess, or in my head, or in the way that I am with you, what's the biggest change you've noticed? How has it impacted, the way we talk to each other?
I think there's maybe one thing just in terms of the levels of conversation, and when we talk, there's a lot of things happening, and the levels of medication that you took, the treatment that you undertook, sometimes maybe it's not as easy to sort of stay within one vein of conversation. Do you know what I mean? So that's maybe the one thing in terms of focus levels and concentration, that sometimes like your focus levels can just sort of drift or like go away, because there's a lot of things happening at the same time. And then we have to sort of get back to the essence of what we were actually discussing. And I think you mentioned it yourself in terms of sort of slight memory, like things with memory, etc. But memory, I've not noticed. I would literally say it's mainly just about the focus levels. Before, we would notice it less because we were all super distracted anyway, and we had loads of people around all the time, and we were all, big group of friends, and there was people. Nowadays, you and me, we spend a lot of time as well, just you and me talking, and we go on really long conversations, and it's just interesting how it's not easy as a human being in general to keep the levels of focus. But let me know if that's an observation that you feels rings
No,
true, or
it is. It's something that comes with what I've accepted as treatment. But I think, if I can permit myself, that the depth of our conversations when we have them on the phone, because like you said, we live apart and we see each other not as often, has taken, for me, you're one of the only people that I have such intense and true conversations. I mean, you mentioned levels, but I think if you look at the positive of me having SPS, I've matured so much. I mean, you've matured as well through many experiences, but we do have I find it's a blessing that we have such challenging at times, but we have this ability to trust each other even more and
Mm,
talk a really, really, you know, uh, interesting level. I mean, high intellect, difficult topics, but we don't talk to each other every week and things. But when we do spend a long time on the phone, and we talked about everything. And I go sideways with my focus and everything. But I mean, we talk about really nice stuff, and I don't think I'm able to do that with a lot of people. So for me, thank you for being an amazing friend. And thank you for sticking by my side. But I think for me, our friendship has evolved in as beautiful way as it can, in a difficult, I wanted to say horrible, but let's be more positive, in a difficult situation. And also, I've come to learn that everyone has their own problems. There's no comparison, no, and you've, like everyone, your journeys become difficult at times, but we've grown up, and but we've still managed to be transparent, and that's what I really value. I have one last question, if you want to answer it.
fire away.
How was it when I had my septic shock? What did you feel?
Mm, yeah. Yeah, that was that was tough, yeah. Hmm.
Not a question you want to answer. Okay.
No, it's not about not answering it. It's about it's still like really it's still really fresh, and also it's like the first time that it's the first time that I thought, okay, maybe she's not coming back. Do you know what I mean? It's so far I had never. I know when we talk about SPS, there is a reduced potential reduced life expectancy depending on how serious SPS is, but that was the first time I was literally, I mean, you know, I messaged you from a church, and we know
Was
I'm maybe
one of the
I'm maybe
most,
not the most religious person in the world, you know what I mean? It was tough. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah.
all
Luckily,
right.
your husband was great in keeping me updated, you know, and I know, yeah, but it was tough.
It was one of the most beautiful message I received when I came out because, I didn't have my phone with me. And I'm sorry I put you on the spot with that one, but
No, don't
let's just
sorry. I
say,
mean, we're here. There's nothing. It's okay. We're just talking.
all right. Well, that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you about and convey in this heart to heart about friends, not family or caregivers. And it may be different for other people, but for us, we've managed to, you know, stay together, which is I
Mm.
value a lot. So thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing me on. Genuinely. Mhm.